What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday, March 22nd. We have some more college basketball action to dive into for today. We've got round number 2 of the NCAA tournament tipping off. We also have some more NIT tournament action going down as well. So we got a few plays for each of those tournaments that we'll go over here in this video. But before we do, typically this is where we would recap our plays from the previous video right now, right? But I do still have one more play in the works, the Michigan State Bryant. Looking at the under in that game, I've got it at under 152.5, and man, I hope we cash on it, because what a brutal start it's been to the tournament, guys. An absolutely brutal start. 1-3 yesterday in round number 1 in the first day, right? And now day number 2, we're 0-2 starting off. Looking at 0-3 if we can't cash this under, which right now it looks okay. It looks okay, but man, come on. Let's got to give, right? It has absolutely been madness. You know, they call it March Madness for a reason, and man, it is living up to the name so far. At least on my end, I hope that you guys have been a lot more successful than I have been so far. And apologize for the just for the shit picks, for lack of better words. It has not been good so far these last couple days. So we look to bounce back today, man, and there's no better way for me to bounce back than to look at my hometown Dayton Flyers in the first game, man. Look, we got some NIT tournament action tipping off. Like I said, this is round number 2. We cashed on Dayton in round number 1 in the NIT tournament, taking on Florida Atlantic. They are taking on Chattanooga today, and I do think they're the better team in this one as well. The books agree this time. They have them as favorites, sitting at minus 140, which is juiced, I know. But I like it, man. Let's roll with it. Let's get some profit. Let's get on the right side of things and get the ball rolling in the right track and get right back on the positive side of things, man. Chattanooga has won 6 of the 10 games that they have been dogs in this year. Dayton has been favorites in 24 games, and they have won in 18 of those. You know, Dayton's coming in with one less day of rest, but they are 5-1 in that scenario when they come into a game with rest disadvantage. And they are also 11-3 this year in non-conference play. And then looking at the Ken Palms, we can see Dayton's overall, they're sitting at 78th, Chattanooga 104, Dayton offensively sitting at 44th, and defensively sitting at 133, Chattanooga sitting at 55th and 244, respectively, in those categories. So like I said, Dayton is the better team in this one. They have been on the season. Absolutely. Chattanooga has won 9 of their last 10, while Dayton has just won 7 of their last 10. But we can also look at the Ken Palms. Let's look at the strength of their opponents, right? And we can see, their net rating, the strength of the opponent's offense and their defense. We can see Chattanooga has played far less quality opponents than the Dayton Flyers, right? Chattanooga sitting at 209 for net rating, 252 for offense, and 185 for defense, and that's from the opposition, the average of their opposition. Looking at Dayton, we're sitting at 91 overall, 100 offensively, and 78th defensively. So they've played the stiffer competition, and they've played better overall on the season as well. So I definitely like Dayton in this one, guys. We also got to consider, Chattanooga, they're coming in off of a triple overtime thriller. And that was a fun victory, yeah, but I do think we see a letdown here. I do think we see some regression after such a long and grueling game coming into this one. So yeah, give me Dayton here, and I wouldn't mind taking a look at the total sitting at 149.5. I wouldn't mind looking at the over whatsoever. Like I said, coming off of a triple overtime game, we're going to have some tired legs in the second half for Chattanooga. And the over has hit in 8 of the last 10 for Dayton, 7 of the last 10 for Chattanooga. Dayton's actually 22-10 this year to the over. 8 of their 10 games played on the road have gone over as well, and then 17 of the 24 games that they have been made favorites have also seen the over. And we can just pop over to Outlier real quick, take a peek over here at the last 10 games for these two teams. We can see that Chattanooga has gone over this line at a 70% rate. Dayton has hit it at a 50% rate in their last 10. All right, next up, I'm looking at Drake and Texas Tech. Texas Tech is 7.5-point favorites in this one. Drake has covered in 3 of their last 4 now, coming off of a victory over a good Missouri team in the opening round of the tournament. That was a team that sat at 19th in the Ken Palms, talking about Missouri, right? Look, Drake plays at the slowest pace in the nation, just the slowest pace overall. And they were able to frustrate the Tigers with that just snail-like pace, man. And they really just completely got Missouri out of their element offensively, right? Drake is a solid defensive team, and they have solid wins on this year on their resume. They've done so all year on the heels of that defense. It ranks 39th in the Ken Palms, and they're a top 10 team in terms of turnovers forced as well. Thing is, coming up against these Texas Tech Raiders, man, I'm not sure that like grinded out approach is going to be the thing. I don't think that's going to work here against them, right? They have the size to get after Drake down low. They should be able to win the battle on the glass. They got big man JT Toppin down there. He brings height and athleticism. I don't think Drake's going to be able to contend with it personally. Just looking at both these teams, it's like overall on the roster, starting lineups, especially Texas Tech is just they're just the more talented team. They have the best player on the court in JT Toppin, like I said. They got the better backcourt, and while Drake plays great defense, yes, Texas Tech plays better defense and better offense, and they shoot the ball better from deep. So I think it's going to be hard for Drake in this one, most definitely, and I think a lot of people are going to be all over Drake after that first round. And that's the thing. You start looking at how each of these teams played in the first round, and you kind of want to start leaning Drake's way, right? And you start looking at different trends involved with both these teams, and it's hard to start writing Drake off, right? Because I mean, look at Drake; they're undefeated against the spread, 7-0 as a dog on the year. They're 7-1 against the spread at a neutral site. They've won all 8 of those neutral site games outright as well. So, guys, I'm torn here, man. Like I said, Drake played a great game against Missouri. And it's hard not to have that like recency bias looking at this one, but I just think Texas Tech is the better team overall. But I've gone back and forth on it, man. Like I started looking at this, and I was initially looking at Drake, like, yeah, I like Drake on this one. Hold on, wait a second. No, I like Texas Tech. No, I kind of like Drake. Guys, I'm back and forth. I can't figure it out. I'm not sure on this one. Let's try something new. Comment down below which side that you're on. Are you on Drake plus 7.5? Or are you on Texas Tech minus 7.5? This is one of those ones, man, where I'm really interested in the game. I'm going to watch this game. I want to have a wager on it. Or whichever side gets the most comments, that's the side I'm going to roll with. I'm going to tell you guys on this one. All right, so yeah, whichever side gets the most comments, whether it's Drake plus the points or Texas Tech laying the 7.5, that's how I'm going to play this one. All right, next up, I'm looking at Creighton and Auburn. Auburn is 9.5-point favorites in this one. I like Creighton, guys. I like Creighton plus the points. One of them scenarios again, man, where it's like, nah, Creighton caught me sleeping in round 1, man. I had Louisville. I have them in my bracket too. I have them going, I think, into the Sweet 16. I had them beating Auburn. I think I have them stopping at the Sweet 16. I'll have to double check. I hope, man. I hope I didn't put them into the Elite 8. But oh man, caught me sleeping. Creighton is they ball. That is a squad over there. Look, they've covered 4 of their last 6. Auburn has failed to cover now in 5 straight games. Look, and that's the thing. I don't think, let me just be right off the rip, make it very clear. I think Auburn's going to win this game, but I don't think that it's going to be a double-digit Auburn victory, right? They're just 15-1 against the spread overall on the year as a favorite. Creighton's 8-2-1 as a dog. And Creighton, they're just clicking on offense. They shot the lights out against Louisville, 45% from deep, 57% overall from the field, and they dominated on their way to a 14-point win as 3-point dogs. And it's like, sure, man, I'm going to expect some regression as far as that hot shooting is concerned, absolutely. But I'm still not sure that that's enough to make me want to get behind an Auburn team right here, laying double digits. Against this Creighton team, especially. Auburn has not shown me enough here down the stretch throughout the remainder of the regular season, going into conference tournament play, into the tournament here in round 1. I just have not seen enough from them to feel comfortable laying a double-digit spread with them right now against, like I said, against this Creighton team. You look at these guys on the Ken Palms, and it's like Creighton's not that far away. There's not that huge of a gap between these teams. Auburn is great. Don't get it twisted, man. 4th overall, 2nd offensively, 13th defensively. But Creighton's 33rd overall, 32nd offensively, and 41st defensively. Like I said, man, it's not like there's this big, huge, sizable gap between these teams, right? Auburn took care of business end of the day against Alabama State, but they let that 16 seed Alabama State hang around for the majority of the first half before they pulled away for a 20-point victory. They did so despite shooting, only 56% from the line and turning the ball over 12 times as well. We can jump back over here to Outlier. Let's check out Creighton with that plus 9.5-point spread. Let's look at them in their last 5. We can see that they have hit this at a 80% rate. 4 of their last 5, they've covered that 9.5, while Auburn is the exact opposite. The only time that they have covered the 9.5-point spread in their last 5 games was against Alabama State there in the first round. Now, facing more quality opponents, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas A&M, we can see that they are not covering this line. They're not covering, period, against the spread, like I said, right? 5 straight times that they have not covered. So we can get Creighton over there, plus 9.5 over there at DraftKings at minus 115.